The last few days have been probably the closest thing to normality that I've experienced in quite some time. It's the first time I've gone out and hung out with friends, done a photo shoot, gone on a little adventure. So this week, a couple of my photographer friends, Mike and Liam, came up to Sydney from Melbourne. They had a couple of projects and things that they were working on up here for a few days, and we decided to link up, hang out for a couple of days, and actually plan a little trip to a place near Sydney called the Blue Mountains. Blue Mountains is probably one of my favorite locations near Sydney just because it's so close, it's so accessible, and it's a really good winter destination actually. Liam and their other friend Chris decided to take their car, and me and Mike hopped in Travis and we all drove up to the Blue Mountains. It's only about an hour and a half away from Sydney, so it didn't take us too long to get there. When we got there, we met up with another photographer friend of theirs called Alex, who was kindly letting us stay at his place up in the Blue Mountains for the night. The first place that we headed to was a location that's called Lincoln's Rock, and this is probably one of my favorite locations in the Blue Mountains, and you might have actually seen some footage from this spot in a few of my other videos that I've posted on Instagram and YouTube. And because this was the first time that I was going out again with friends, shooting and getting creative, I wanted to create something that represented this visually. I came up with a cool concept using the orbit point of interest feature on the drone, which would hopefully kind of show the transition of being alone and then being together again, which I'll explain a little bit more as the video goes on. I thought that this would be the perfect location to get this shot, but the conditions at this point weren't really the best. The light was really harsh. It was the middle of the day. There were a lot of people around. I wanted to either have a sunrise or a sunset, and I wanted the whole place to myself, which just wasn't gonna happen because there was so many people there. So Alex decided to take us to a cool lookout near the place that we were staying at that night for sunset. And when we got there, I think we were a little bit late because the light was already going sort of down over the mountain and the sun was kind of setting on the other side. So I think we kind of picked the wrong location for sunset, which was a shame, but I kind of used that time to test out the concept that I wanted to shoot the next morning for sunrise, which was that drone orbit effect. I've never actually used point of interest before, so this was going to be something new. It made sense in my mind, but I didn't know if it was actually going to work out in person. So I kind of tested this concept with Liam. Even though the lighting wasn't ideal, I just wanted to kind of see if it would work and then plan out what my shot would look like from there. Kind of talking about what we wanted to do the next morning. No one really had any ideas in mind of what they wanted to shoot. I was really keen to hopefully shoot my concept that I had, and the boys were all really down to help me, which was awesome. We all agreed to get up at 6 a.m. for a 7 a.m. sunrise and head back towards Lincoln's Rock, which was the first location that we went to in the Blue Mountains, and probably the best spot for me to get the shot that I wanted to get. Even though it was freezing and none of us really wanted to get out of bed, we woke up at 6 o'clock and we headed towards Lincoln's Rock to see what it would look like, and hopefully the conditions were gonna work in our favor.
Yeah, legit. So yesterday we came to this spot in the middle of the day and it was a complete failure for the shot that I wanted to get anyway. So I've decided to come back this morning, and thank goodness we've got like the perfect conditions, and we've got all this low-lying cloud which looks insane. Oh, look at that.
So the conditions were perfect. I've never actually seen this location look so good. The sky was an awesome color. The light was just starting to peek through the horizon, and we had this like incredible low-lying cloud below us. It was almost like we were above the clouds in the sky, and I just knew that this was gonna look good for the shot that I wanted to get. So I was just immediately thinking, let's get the drone up there, let's set it up, test it out, see what it looks like, and let's try and make this thing happen. And I set Mike up on the edge of the cliff, obviously not too close to the edge that it was dangerous, but just enough so that he was kind of masked out by the clouds that were beneath him, and he was kind of silhouetted against that background. So me and the boys sort of ran out of frame quickly because obviously I wanted to get this rotation of Mike just by himself, isolated, and we weren't going to be in this part of the shot. Basically, I've just used point of interest to rotate around Mike on the edge of this cliff, and it's going to do 3 rotations around him, and then what we're going to do is we're all going to jump in the same frame while it's doing the exact same rotation. And then in post, wow, that actually looks sick. In post, I'm gonna cut it all together and make it look like we're appearing. So I did 3 perfect rotations around Mike using point of interest, and then we paused the rotation and quickly ran into the frame, and then continued the rotation and recorded the exact same shot with all of us in the frame, which is what I was gonna cut together afterwards in post to sort of create this effect of us appearing in that same spot. So thankfully everything worked out perfectly. Spent the rest of the morning just taking more photos. The conditions were perfect, got some sick shots, captured some more drone footage, played around with a few other ideas, and we kind of just hung out and shot. The boys let off a flare and got some cool shots there as well. Yeah, it was just awesome to get up early, have that location all to ourselves, and just enjoy the morning shoot and get some cool content. So after getting back from the Blue Mountains, this was time to see if my concept was going to work out. After a lot of keyframing, blending, motion blurring, speed ramping, all that good stuff, we ended up with this. Thank goodness the effect worked perfectly. I'm super happy with the result and how it turned out. We started off with the light still below the horizon, and then as we whip around and all of us appear, the light comes out. I think it's just a really awesome effect, and I think it really just resembles this little photo shoot and this trip for me, having been by ourselves for the last few months and then now slowly being able to hang out and come together again. And I think that this sort of visually represents that perfectly. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed a little sort of story time and behind the scenes into this trip and how I captured this shot. A massive shout out and a massive thank you to all the boys that came with me on this trip. Mike, Liam, Chris, and Alex. I couldn't have got this shot without them. They were really awesome. I had a great time hanging out with them. If you haven't done so, go and check out their pages. I'm gonna leave all their links down in the description. They've got some awesome work, and I know that they're also coming out with some content from this trip as well, so definitely go and check that out. If you're interested in seeing a tutorial on how I actually edited this effect together, let me know down in the comments. If this video gets 250 likes, I'll drop the tutorial next week and show you exactly how it's done. Drop a like on this video, it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you in the next video.
Yeah, my name's Gabe, and I think I'm the best drone photographer in the whole of the Southern Hemisphere, but in actual fact, I just don't know what I'm doing.